Good evening, Soul Tribe family, and welcome to Saturday Night Live with Lady D. I'm your host, Lady D. Tonight is a very, very special show. We have the one and only Jordan Clark. Before I bring Jordan Clark on, I just wanted to do a few announcements. I will be on with Jason on the Light Warrior Network tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, that's 3 p.m. Pacific. If anybody wants to get in touch with me, and they would like to purchase a reading or any of my spiritual sessions, you know how to get in touch with me. In the description of this video is my website, Soul Therapy with Lady D. That's where you can find any of my sessions. You know how to get in touch with me. If anybody needs anything, that's how you get in touch with me. Soul Therapy with Lady D. Yada, yada, yada. You're not here to hear me talk. You're here to see Jordan. So without further ado, it is my honor, privilege, and a pleasure to welcome for the first time ever to Soul Therapy with Lady D, Jordan Clark.
How we doing?
Hey, Jordan, how are you? Welcome to the show, and thank you for coming.
Oh, of course. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I see we've got
So,
a lot of. This is my first time on YouTube, so bear with me. We've got a lot of amazing people here in the chat. It looks like.
yes, wow. Well, I'm so happy that this is your first time on YouTube. You don't really have to hold back. I haven't been, knock on wood, I haven't gotten in trouble just yet. I'm not that big of a channel, so you can feel free to be uncensored. Tell it like it is.
Oh, we're going to.
Everybody on the show, yeah, thank you. Everybody, you are the perfect guest for this platform. Everyone here loves God and Yeshua. Everyone here is a patriot. They follow that 17-letter Q thing that you do. And most of the people, let's say anyone here that's on Instagram knows you. However, there are some people that have not heard your story. Now,
Gotcha.
I came to know Jordan from being on Instagram. He has a riveting, phenomenal testimony. For people that have watched me, I've gone through the ringer a few weeks ago. I'm currently going through a divorce, and I've had
You know
some
that.
hardships. But
You can
thank
tell
you.
me that.
Oh, yeah, I'm going through that, but that's okay. We're here to talk about you tonight. So, what I'm going through pales in comparison as to what you've gone through. You have the most inspiring, awe-striking testimonial and story. You have been through so much, and you are still here to tell the story. So, there are many people in the Soul Tribe who they're going through a lot, Jordan. They're struggling, and so I feel that your story and your testimony will really give them a lot of inspiration and encouragement to keep going. So if you want to start with your testimony, your heart failure testimony, how were you always a God person? Will you always have a relationship with God? Let's start with that and then get into your testimony and your heart failure story.
Yeah. First, actually, real quick, I want to go ahead and lead you some prayer, if you don't mind.
Oh, that's right. We forgot to do that. Thank you, Jordan, for
No,
reminding
no,
me to
you're
start
fine.
with a
You're
prayer.
fine. You're fine. I always start out with a quick prayer. So,
Yep.
Heavenly Father, thank you for another opportunity here just to spread the way you work in our lives. It sometimes is it's hard to understand, Father, but we know that you are the supernatural healer. Father, right now I just ask that you continue to align us with those that are that are working together for your purpose, each and every one of us. Anyone who's watching right now, I just ask you give them the faith and strength to spread the testimony, as they all have a testimony. Some way you have saved all of us, and it's our job. We know that it's our job to share that with others, as it can be a survival guide. Father, I just ask that you give wisdom more than ever right now as the enemy continues to deceive us. Just fill us with your wisdom, your spirit, as we walk and we navigate this crazy life. We see everything working out for good. And we know at the end of this battle, Father, at the end of this war, the enemy is already defeated and you will win. I say this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank
I
you
get
so
this
much
light
for
right
that.
in front of me and I'm like trying to pray and my eyes closed and it's like, like, hello. So anyway, influencer problems, y'all. Influencer problems.
That's how it is.
Yes. Well, we're live on my Instagram, and I know you've followed me, and this is it's crazy because I talked about how in my testimony here, talking about it, I find God in this process of going through heart failure and big pharma. But I also want to acknowledge that prayer is absolutely everything. Um, this war we're in spiritually, whatever, informationally, we're in a war, and people need to understand that. You brought up Q, the operation. It saved my life because knowledge is power, and obviously we have the Bible, which is most important, but it's important to know the worldly ways as well, because the enemy loves when we don't have knowledge on how to navigate the worldly ways, right? As the Bible says, my children will suffer due to a lack of knowledge. And that is being very shown more than ever right now. I'll put it that way. But prayer, I have prayed for stuff like this. I can't tell you, how much in the last 2 years I've just asked God to show me my purpose, and to, honestly, I used to be the one watching Rumbles forever. And then my prayer was, hey, I just want to be on a Rumble someday. Like, I want to go on one of these guys' shows or your show or whatever. And just having the opportunity to be able to share and show how God works, and just not in my life, but, other people's lives as well, is amazing. So I know you've watched my heart failure testimony. You asked how I found God, right? So to give a little context, as I've said many times, I was born into a family that never really went either way when it came to church, which I've said I think that's very important, because I wasn't pulled one way into religion, but I also, I had to, we went on the holidays. So we went to your holiday churches, the Easter, Christmas. And then, don't get me started on those topics right now, but pagan holidays, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, the rituals. So I kind of just, I always was a believer. I always knew there was a God, and, Elohim, multiple gods. But it took my heart failing for me to finally have a true relationship with God. And as I say 1,000 times, it's not about religion, it's about relationship. We are the church. We are in church right now. Okay? So if your pastor or your church shuns you for things that we talk about, come on over. Come on over. We'll start a church. But yeah, so I going back to heart failure, I don't want to go too deep into this, because it's I know there's a lot of people that have not heard my story, but I've been in health and fitness all my life, and I guess time's flying. 2-3 years ago, so 2023, I believe. My heart just started failing, and it wasn't a heart attack. It was just the chamber started going out. So just to give a little context, I always go back and I always discuss the things that I went through, the battles, because like you said, I think people are battling every aspect of whatever kind of spiritual war they're in, mental health, physical. Right now, our world is suffering on many, many levels. And I'm not saying this to boast or to brag. When I say I overcame these things, it's only because of God. And there was many times, I'll talk about, just the battles that led up to this, but many times I want to give up. And when I discuss these big battles in my life, I'm bringing them up because, one, the stress they take on your heart. We go through things and we put ourselves through hell for some reason. That's what we're born to do, is, stress. And how we handle these circumstances in our life is everything. So this whole time I tell you about these situations that come up from 2017 to 2023, my heart is taking a beating and I don't even know it. So that's why I'm going to go into a little bit of context of these. But so going back, I just in 2017, we'll just go there. I was franchise owner of a complete nutrition supplement store in Sarasota, Florida. We had a bunch all over the country, and I was out there living life in Sarasota, and my dad calls me out of nowhere. I was there for about 6 months, and says Morgan's dead, and that's my sister. So my dad calls me and lets me know he found my sister 4 days decomposed on in her bedroom, and obviously that absolutely rocked me. So I bring this up because also too, I don't want to get into politics too much. I know it's kind of something you lean on a little bit, but the last person my sister was with was an illegal immigrant. So if people watch my content and stuff, there's a reason behind everything I do. In fact, I got her right there. That's her ashes right up there is Morgan. So she's here with us as always. But so anyway, that was a very big stressful thing to deal with. I went back, dealt with obviously the funeral, and came back to my store. And then 2018, met a girl, fell in love. This is my last relationship, sadly. Last girl I talked to. So go back to 2018, I fall in love and I meet this girl, and a year and a half after meeting her, it wasn't the one. And I had planned on proposing. I had all these arrangements laid out, and she one day had to go find herself. I don't know what that means, but she literally one day just up and left. And what that does to a guy without closure, it tears a man apart, especially when you don't cheat or fight. Like you're just like, oh, this is perfect. I can finally fall in love and have kids. And I bring this up because, it tore me apart to the fact that I tried to take my life 3 times by overdose. So 2 days after she left, within 2 days, I was trying to just get out of this matrix. I was done. And, my sister, it's funny because what do we always do, Lady D? What do we always do? We always blame God.
Yep.
So I'm blaming
God. I admit it.
Right? So I'm blaming God. God, why are you doing this? God, what's happening? Like, what's my purpose? This makes no sense. And then fast forward by, 2019, what's coming. I'm in my store and we get hit with a pandemic. Oh, so there's one part I don't like to leave out, but my best friend, Jay, who was an Army Ranger, Intel, like elite, in 2018, 6 months before he died, he sent me a text and he's like, hey, keep these sources. And I'm like, in a relationship at the time, I'm kind of like, okay, what's this? Like, well, this makes no sense, brother. I haven't seen you in a while and you're sending me like stuff about Q. So he sent me like 3 documentaries and then the Q board, the Q Intel stuff. And so when the pandemic hit, I was obviously in my store, had a lot of free time. I went from like 30 customers a day to 1, and God was just driving me to this text thread from Jay. Well, 6 months, like I said, in 2018, 6 months, he passed away. He died right before the pandemic. So right before he died, 6 months is when he sent me those sources. I still don't understand. I mean, obviously God, I don't know, but so I'm in my store and I'm just, taking all this stress, and I'm, I don't know what to do. I have an overhead that's like $35,000 a month, and you add all these things up. My heart is just taking a beating.
Oh, yeah.
And so I started watching a lot of the Q stuff and really realizing like, oh, wow, we've been lied to about a lot. And then I started connecting dots, and, Q had mentioned, you looked on the news and you saw pandemic, deaths, blah, blah, blah. But then whenever I did my research at night, it made no sense. Like what was happening out there wasn't really happening. So I bring this up because, like I said, having this knowledge saved my life in the hospitals. So when I get here in a second to the hospital part, had I not studied this stuff, I probably wouldn't have made the decisions. Obviously, I'll explain here in a second. Does that make sense though?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, before we get into the hospital, Jordan, obviously you tried to take your life 2 times, all right? Obviously, the reason why you are still here is because you had a mission and you had, um, let's say, you were ordained by God to do this. So, can you, without going into the detail, because we don't want to get too morbid here, can you tell us about those instances? Because there's a lot of people that watch my show that are suffering from depression. How did God bring you out of that? In those two instances, if you can.
As in the
When you,
suicides?
yes.
Well, obviously, with overdose prescription medications, it doesn't work, right? So you do it again and it doesn't work. And I honestly don't know how I survived. I mean, it was like 20 something plus. I think I was prescribed Xanax and Klonopin at the time and tried to just swallow them all. And I remember it was just fresh bottles. And I woke up, and then, like I said, I don't want to go too much into it, but you start to realize, okay, well, maybe this isn't the way to go.
Right.
And,
I mentioned that because the amounts, and I remember watching your testimony, the amounts that you took, if you
yeah,
look reasonably, you really shouldn't be here. I really believe that something that God saved you. And there was some kind of divine intervention because you should have been dead, Jordan.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I just wish I was smarter. As I say, smarter. I wish I had a better, different relationship because I didn't know God, and I'm blaming Him the whole time. And I'm just like, okay, why am I surviving? Like, why? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want the pain anymore. I had to put my clothes on the same way and go into a store and help 30 people a day, and be super emotional of the love of my life. You're going through a divorce right now. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you got to put that fake smile on. You got to, and I'm not that kind of guy, so I couldn't do that. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I do social media. Like you're going to see a guy who's broken. So then I started just questioning everything. We get hit with the pandemic, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like my best friend dies, and I'm sitting in my store, and I have no people coming in, and with a ton of bills. I was in a very expensive retail center out in Sarasota, Florida. Like I had the big name brands, Best Buy, Chipotle, Target, Super Target, Bed Bath & Beyond. Those were all in my super center or shopping store. And when this pandemic hit, they shut everything down. I stayed open. I was the little nutrition store that stayed open. And so, we found ways to make it work, but it took a beating on me. And I didn't have prayer back then. I didn't go to church, nothing. I remember people telling me to go to church, and I was like, come on, you're crazy. Like, I'm not going to church. So anyway, just to fast forward a little bit, I'm in my store, and my accountant calls, and he's like, hey, I think you can leave with Trump's no eviction notice. Like, you don't have to worry about them coming after you. And I'm like, oh, you're right. So I wanted to, instead of running a retail store, I wanted just to invest all my savings into one brand and help the brand grow. So there was this brand called Surge that was my top seller, and it was smaller. They were out in Utah, and I said, hey, I want to be an investor. I want to come work with you guys and be an owner investor. And, I want to give you obviously a large chunk of money, around $70,000, and let's get this thing rocking. Oh, okay. I'm like, cool. So I send him all this money from Sarasota to Utah. I close my store, pack everything, move to Utah. I'm ready for a fresh start. I get there, and they're like, I'm literally almost there. They didn't even know I was driving. And I get there, and they don't even have an office. And I'm like, oh, whoa. So pretty much they just said, we don't need you. Like, we're good. Just sit back and we'll get this going. I'm like, that's not how I work. Like, what? I'm not going to be an investor because obviously you're going to tank. I didn't realize that they definitely needed some money during COVID.
Wow.
So I'm stuck in this mountain in Utah. I don't know anybody. Again, I'm like, God, I'm done. Like, I'm done. And when my sister passed away, I don't know what happens to parents when they lose a child, but my family and my parents are divorced, and we didn't talk for 5 years, from 2017 to 2023. I'll explain, but it took my heart failing for me to call him and be like, hey, I'm dying. And when I say we didn't talk, I'm talking 5 years without a single word. And that will do a lot to a person. I don't think parents realize it, but yeah, I mean, your kids, no matter what age, always need you. If you're available, I'm not going to say anything, but so keep that in mind. I'm literally living life, and I'm taking these hits and hits and hits, and I don't know even who to talk to. I didn't even know my parents were alive during the pandemic, and I hated God. So I'm in the mountains of Utah, and all I knew was to start a nutrition store in my apartment. That's it. So I start this new, supplements again. I'm like finding ways to make things work. I got a year lease. I'm stuck. I just wanted to get out of Utah and back to Florida. That's all I knew. Um,
Hmm.
these people that just stole my money live right down the road. And, when you don't know God, you want to do a lot of horrible things to people.
I bet.
And, oh, yeah, I told them, I said, the only reason you're still alive right now to my partners is because I grew up without a father. And I don't want your kids to grow up without a father. I say that, but that's how deep it was. You got to think, you took everything's been taken from me at this point. Now, the hard earned working money that I just saved up during a pandemic is gone. So I really have no purpose left, right? All I knew is I got to wait out a year here in these mountains and I can leave. So I have an amazing customer that when my year lease was up, Tiffany and her husband, I sold supplements to for a long time. They came and helped me move. So they came to Utah, helped me pack, and they lived in Texas. So I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm heading back to Florida. And I was like, hey, Tiff, let's just go through Texas and I'll drop you off. And so I had everything packed up. Thankfully, they were there to help me. And I swing by their house in Texas, and they own a FedEx company out there. And she's like, well, why don't you just hang out, get resituated, and we'll get you a better deal on a trailer, and you can figure out where you're going in Florida, because I had no idea. Just going with the Holy Spirit. So I said, okay, cool. Well, one thing leads to another. And I'm in their bedroom and the guest room, and it's like a week goes by, and next thing I know, my heart starts to give out. Yeah.
Wow.
And like I said, it wasn't a heart attack. And it's very important, because there's a statistic, I can't say that word, a statistic that blows my mind still to this day. 67% of people that die from a heart attack don't even know they have heart problems.
Wow. That's a lot, Jordan.
Think about it. How many people just hanging out at the club, dancing, they fall? You don't even know. It's split second, done. So
Right.
don't
And
take.
you had no history of it. You had no clue.
And that's for me. Actually, it's in my family. I never had grandpas. My grandpas passed away in their 60s,
Okay.
73, from heart attacks. So I kind of knew it was in the family, but you don't think anything of it. I'm a health nut. Lady D, I haven't had fast food in 15 years. I couldn't tell you what it looks like. I couldn't tell you what a drive-through looks like. Um, and I say this because if it can happen to me, someone who is in supplements, nutrition, health, 15 years, look at the problems we have, addictions with food, obesity. And I don't know how people don't know this, but heart disease kills more people every year than all cancers combined. But you know what? Doesn't make the money like cancer. So we don't talk about it as
Exactly.
much. It's the invisible
Exactly.
enemy.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So
and
anyway,
looking at you, you're pretty, yeah, you are the epitome of health. Just looking at you, you can tell that you work out, you're healthy. So this was a shock. This must have been a shocker to you. Go ahead, continue, Jordan.
oh, darling, shocker to me. I mean, you got to think how okay. So anyway, I don't want this to take up the whole podcast, but I'm in her bedroom. My heart goes out in a planet. I was tanning one day, and I got up to get out of the tanning bed. Don't want to hear it. I got out of the tanning bed and I fainted. So I realized I was holding water. This is what saved my life, because I noticed the water weight. The pump wasn't working, right? So I was retaining water. And as a fitness person, that's not good. Ladies, when
Mm-hmm.
you're bloated or something. So I got up out of the tanning bed. I kind of fainted for about 30 seconds. I got up and realized that the oxygen wasn't going to my brain, because my blood wasn't circulating as well. So I was like, hey, we got to go in. I got some serious bloating water weight down here. Lady D, I put on 24 pounds of water in 48 hours.
Wow.
All
That's
in my
just insane.
lower midsection, right? So I didn't realize, I thought it was my thyroid. So
Mm-hmm.
we go into my PCP and he didn't even deal with me. He's like, oh, I got you a straight shot to the ER and you're not even gonna have to wait. You're fast tracked. And I'm like, okay, well, this must be serious. So didn't think anything of it. Go back, we're in 2020, right? So I go to the ER with Tiff. This thing is loaded with masks. I mean, the waiting line, oh my. So I go in, I'm like, no mask,
Mm-hmm.
Sitting there, I get into the first ER, Lady D. I'm going to kind of speed this up, but I get into the first ER and it's a little, arrogant, stocky dude. He comes in and they already put me through all these tests. And you know how they do it. They throw you through all these scans and don't tell you anything about it, racking up a bill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a tightwad with money. So I'm like just sitting here thinking, oh my gosh. Okay. Well, they're like, oh, he comes in and he turns off the TV. He's all serious. He's like, all right, Mr. Clark, well, it's like you have severe heart failure. And I mean, my jaw just dropped. I'm just sitting there like, oh, wow, my life's about to change. And Tiff's over here like bawling her eyes out like, oh, I'm like, I don't know what this means. I can't even, any diagnosis like this, you're like stunned.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, all I hear is just this guy jabbering with his nursing assistant. And he's like, and it looks like you have some signs of COVID. So we're going to have to do a COVID. And I just was like, oh, here we go. So Lady D, I had no signs of COVID. I had no cough. I had no nothing. And again, remember my research with Q, right?
Yep.
So I knew what the PCR tests were. They were false positives, if you didn't know this. They were false positives. They were 50-50 false positives, meaning they're already preloaded with yes or no. And there's shards in them that would open your nasal cavity, which allowed the flu, whatever, it would make you more susceptible to getting sick in those. And also a lot of them, they were laced with other chemicals. So I was very against him. I stand very firm in my faith and my freedom. And that, like people were saying on my Instagram and TikTok back then, why didn't you just let him do a test? Well, they're not saying that anymore. I mean, these people are pure evil, as in the people that set up this whole pandemic.
Exactly.
So I said, sir, you're not going to give me a test. And I remember he got so mad and he walked out. He left me and Tiff in that room for an hour and a half, or excuse me, 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours. And they didn't even drain the water with me. That's the easiest thing to do, Lady D. Like, remember, like I'm holding all this water. I can't breathe. They don't let you drink anything. And so he leaves. His nurse comes back, throws the dismissal papers on my chest with a clipboard and says, all right, Mr. Clark, you're good to go. So, oh, this is real. Like, wow. Wait, the healthcare industry that we're supposed to lean on. Wow. Okay. So I said, here we go. Ripped off the EKGs and walked out and I was done. Like I went home and that night I could have sworn it was over. I laid there in that bedroom of their guest bedroom and Tiffany was on her knees praying and she was just rubbing my shoulder and I didn't think I was going to wake up the next morning. I could barely breathe. And she said, you're going to another ER. And I said, no, I'm not. Anyways, she said, well, you're going to stay here. You are. And I said, you Texans. Okay, whatever. So the next morning, long story short, we go to another ER, same thing. And waiting room, mile long. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. And this time they were a little trickier. They did everything. And then the last thing I needed was an echocardiogram, the ultrasound for your heart. And they told me that since I refused their COVID test, that I'd be last in line for the echo. And I was like, oh, okay. So how long is that? Well, 12, 13 hours is what we're looking at. Oh, because remember, everyone in there has heart problems right now, right? I said, well, cool. So just like a restaurant, let me know, go home. You guys will send me a text or something, right? I'll come back. Oh, no. We gotta keep an eye on you and have you stay overnight. So, I've been in sales a long time. You guys are good. Have me stay overnight in the ER. I said, I'm good. No, you're not going to sit here and rack up a bill. Yeah. And so each bill was like around over 50 grand to be kicked out. So I went home. And this one, Well, my first big God intervention. I go home that day. I'm done. I'm blaming God. I don't want to live anymore. I didn't want to die in this bedroom that I was being so kind to have. And so I go to the gym. And when I say I go to the gym, like I can't breathe. I'm not working out. That's my headspace, right? So I go to the gym, and there's this 18-year-old. I'll never forget. It's like 9:00 at night, and I'm just sitting there like waiting just for my heart to stop. And it's like down probably like 10%, 8% at this point.
Oh
like
God.
Insane. And so this kid, Austin, comes up, and he's 18 years old. He's like, hey, man, I've been watching your story. I know this doctor out in Florida that left the hospitals for what you went through, and she might be able to help you, dude. And I'm like, dude, how is she going to help me? I just got kicked out of 2 hospitals. And so he leaves. Yeah, he leaves, and I'm sitting there, and the Holy Spirit just is like, Jordan, you better go call. And I'm like, why would I call this lady? So I go out to my truck. I make the call. I'm like, hey, Dawn, this is Jordan. I have this, and this. And she's like, okay, just settle down. Is it the Walgreens on whatever? I'm like, yeah. She goes, I'm going to send you in a beta blocker, Lasix to get the water off of you, an antibiotic, and I can only help you for about a month. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, I might have a shot.
Yeah.
So I said, how much is this going to cost? And she's like, well, I'm assuming you're paying card. And I said, yeah. She goes, $35. That lady saved my life for $35. And I always say on every podcast, Don, I'm going to find you someday. I'm going to meet you. So she told me that every doctor, for the most part, like what I went through, it was about $400 for every vaccine, and $800 for $800 for every vaccine and $400 for every test they were getting paid. $39,000 for every death.
So evil. It's so evil. Oh.
Terrible. So I know I want to get into other things with you. This is the last final part here. You know, when we finally got to that Lubbock Heart Hospital, we get in, and I get admitted. They take me. There were some more issues in between there. I had to literally like take my life again just to get admitted. Because
this is crazy. You have to tell them this story. I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, but this is crazy. It's disgusting what you had to do just to get seen. So tell them the story.
I was testing you. You actually knew. Okay.
Hey, Mitchie, I watch you. I know your story. I'm not just lip service here. I know your story, Jordan.
I wouldn't doubt you. Okay, so I'm a planner, and I was like, why don't we just go to the next hospital and tell them, hey, this is what I have. Here's proof, and skip the ER, get me admitted, and let's figure it out. So we go up there at 9:00 at night, and my friends walk in. They're like, hey, we got a friend who's like dying, and the next thing is a heart attack. Can we just get him in? And the lady looks at him and says, well, does he have any symptoms? Thankfully, no, because the symptom right now would be a heart attack. And that probably wouldn't last long, and I don't think it would go very well. So, yeah, she's like, well, we'll go talk to him. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They wouldn't even, like, I couldn't get in without a symptom. So I looked at Tiff and I said, tomorrow morning I'm going to go up to the gym because it was real close. The gym I went to, the hospital, and their house. And I said, well, I'm going to go there and I'm going to just run. I couldn't really run. Excuse me. But I said, I'm going to just sprint as fast as I can. I'm going to have the phone on the treadmill. I'm going to have your number, right? Your contact pulled up. And when I start to faint, pass out, I'm going to hit that button and we'll see what happens. I said, if I wake up, you'll be there. If not, then. So I just started running and, 2-3 minutes in, my heart just super abnormal, not even working. And I just started giving out. And I just remember waking up and Droggy and Tiff just like hauling this guy in. I'm looped over her shoulder. And she always wants me to tell this part, but we walk in. She's like, is this good enough? And I'm like, dead. And they're like, did you bring his ID? Bring his ID. Anyway, so we get in and we go through it all. And I get admitted. And I'm laying there, Lady D. This is when it hit me. This is my life-changing moment. I had 900,000 followers on TikTok, and I don't say that to
Mm-hmm.
boast. They took me down a long time ago, but I, you don't realize, like, remember, I didn't talk to my parents for 5 years, not a single text. It's a lot of days.
Mm-hmm.
I hated God. Why would he do this? And all these times I look back, I could have been just living peacefully in a coffin. I'm still here. And now think of the mentality, a fitness guy, 33 years old, no family, no kids. I was told that I would never be able to work out again. I was told that because you can't sleep when your heart is failing, like the pressure on your lungs, you're tossing and turning every minute. So they told me I'd have to sleep during the day and then do whatever at night. And I have to be on these medications for the rest of my life.
No
I'm like,
life.
whoa, hold on. You're talking, you know who you're talking to? Like, this isn't going to work. Like, I'm not, what? So I'm like sitting in that ER room that night, and I realized like no one even knew. I remember looking, it was 9:03, and I'm looking up at this, little TV in the ER, and I think Tip left to get some snacks. And I'm just laying there, and I just start bursting out in tears. And, I knew the enemy had me. Like, he thought he had me. 100%. And I said, I can't go out this way. I said, I don't know what I need to do, but maybe I should start with stop trying to do things my way. Here's the thing. We all try to control everything. We try to have a relationship with God, but yet we don't allow him to do his work because we have to be in control.
Yeah.
And that's not how it's supposed to be. I know it sounds crazy because we don't like that fear of the unknown. We don't like that patient game, patiently waiting. And God's timeline is a lot longer than ours. So I'm laying there that night, and I said, God, listen, if you're real, prove it. I know I believe in you, but I need you right now. I said, I will do whatever it takes. If you give me one more chance, do not let the enemy take me out. And I laid there crying that night. And I just surrendered my life in that moment. That's the difference. It's not water baptisms and stuff. I mean, this is where I wanted that relationship, and I wanted to come back a different person. So I fell asleep that night. I was scheduled for an angiogram the next morning, which is where they check all your valves and stuff. And I went into my angiogram, and I just remember the lady putting the anesthesia on me saying, hey, okay, good night, nighty night. And it was like I was gone for eternity.
Wow.
In the most peaceful place. But I wasn't gone for eternity, obviously. So I remember waking up and coming back in the hospital room and coming out of anesthesia. And, that's when everything changed. This anxiety of how am I going to survive, or, all the things they were telling, like the money. Yeah, I had 3 businesses. Like, I couldn't even make a story on Instagram, let alone how am I going to run this stuff? I'm on Mel. You remember? Like, we had to make things work, the pandemic. And so I'm thinking like, oh man, all that stress went away though. And I'm laying there, and, when I say this, it's not like I was the flesh, I was just a whole different person.
Yep.
When this moment comes in your life, my friends, this is when the enemy attacks harder. Like, right? And the whole time, God's like, I just realized, I look back now, and God's like, it's almost like he's your tag team partner, and he's watching you go through all this, and you're blaming him. He's just like, oh, are you done yet? I'm right here. Yeah, let me know when you're ready. Okay, you ready? Okay, let's go. And, I always tell people, I didn't change. The enemy lost. And I knew I was in for a battle. You have to imagine, I knew that I was saved, and I had a chance, and I am going to have to prove all these people wrong. No one's going to believe me. No one's going to understand if they do. And all I know is I ain't going to live and sleeping during the day, and I'm going to work out. So, my mom in this process, Lady D, I called my parents. I'm not going to get too much into this, but I said, hey, your son's dying. So, if you want to come, I'm in Texas. Here I am. So my mom came in like 12 hours. She was there.
Mm-hmm. I was like, you just called, hey, I'm dying, very casually. Come and see me, I'm dying,
Yeah. Anyways, my mom came. I guess my dad was, he had some appointments he had to go to. So, um, I'm sitting there with Tiff still and her husband, and the cardiologist comes in and he says, you don't have insurance. I said, no. He said, well, your only option is a heart transplant. Okay. He said, and it's about a 3-year waiting list. And right now, with the way things are with your heart, you have about a year until we can really get you stabled out. And obviously hopefully that goes up. And I said, okay. So I'm kind of doing the math here. I'm not a genius, but 3-year waiting list. My heart's at like maybe a year to live. And I don't have insurance. And in order to get insurance or to get on the list, you had to go through, and guess what you had to have?
$1 million.
The jab? No.
Oh, the jab. Oh.
To get on the list, you had to have the jab.
Mm-hmm.
And that means a test. So, well, doc, we got a problem. And I'm not going on disability because I can make more money on TikTok at the time than what disability pays. And I said, you're really giving up on my heart pretty easily. It's like you didn't even give it a chance. You just want to replace it. You got to remember, organ donating, organ harvesting is real.
Yep.
They probably wanted my heart quick to sell. So my other option was the transplant without insurance. Yes, was a $1.4 million cash. I said, well, I don't have that. So I said, I'm going to probably have to find a church here and start praying. In my head, I kind of knew what to do health-wise, right? I knew that I could get out of here, and the heart's a muscle. Mm-hmm. And I was told it's the only muscle we have that can't heal itself. But I just knew that I could maybe work this muscle back in, and with a lot of prayer, we'll be good. If not, hey, we tried, right? Can't lose. Well, they're like, we're going to give you medications. And this is a very important part because I know a lot of people watching are on medications. Big Pharma has absolutely done what it can to get everyone hooked. And this is not good. But anyway, so he goes, I'm going to put you on these Eliquis, Entresto, Lasix for water, and a beta blocker. And these are like the ones you see on your commercials. So I said, okay, I'm against medications. I don't do them. I don't want anything to do with them. And I'm thinking, how are you going to, they cost $2,000 a month with insurance, Lady D. $2,000 a month for the rest of my life.
Ridiculous.
I'm thinking, how am I going? And he goes, oh, don't worry about it. No, I have a lot of reps that come by. So you got to remember, these people, they're not doctors or drug dealers. So he was giving me all these medications for free. So I said, okay, I'll try them for a month or two, see what they do, right? They're going to, the miracle pill for my heart. The first month, I'm not kidding, literally, I don't remember any of it. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. And I don't know how to explain it, but they literally almost killed me. I told them my truck. Don't remember that. It's hard to explain, but it lowered my blood pressure so much. So I said, okay, I went back and we did a test and the heart was still at 8%. So I said, Doc, what do you think? You got to do another month. I said, all right, I'll do one more. Well, 1 month goes by, I go back, still at 8%. And I told my mom, listen, I have thought about this. This is where it gets where people can align with me here. You have to realize at some point the medications aren't working. They're there to keep you hooked. And it's that decision to say, okay, I'm done, even though they're going to tell me I can die. In the back of your head, you're thinking, well, if I stop, am I going to die? But here's the thing. Spiritually, you have to lean on God. I went home and I prayed on this so hard. What do I do? What do I do? And as the mother, if I say, hey, Mom, I'm done taking the medications, what is she going to say? No, you got to take them. Because
exactly.
It's a reassurance.
Exactly, because she thinks it's the right thing to do. She wants to keep you healthy and alive, of course.
Correct. So I knew, I was like, okay. So I went out and said, listen, I'm done. So mom, either you're on my team or you're not. You're not going to sit here and tell me just to take them like you're going to be, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to build the heart up. And I say this because mindset is everything. Like your mindset is your healing, right?
There you go. Yep.
Yes. People don't, I'm serious. The way you speak into your life, the way what you listen to, anything that comes through the vibration frequencies, you know what, we're going to get there. But, you know, I told them, you're on my team or you're not. And we're going to go in and we're going to tell that doctor we're done. So we went in and I said, Doc, I'm going to do things my way. I know how to eat right. I know how to eat very healthy. I know how to work out. I'm going to slowly build this muscle back. And I'm going to go pray a lot. And we'll come back in a month or two and check, you know, how the heart's doing. And what really sucks is you have to pay $2,000 just to have your heart checked.
American healthcare system sucks.
I literally can't check my heart unless I pay $1,500 to $2,000.
Disgusting.
So I went back in. We did an echo, and after doing things my way, Lady D, God's way, it went from 8 to 12, 24%, 48%. And finally, after 48%, I said, Doc, I appreciate it. I'm never coming back. And I knew that was the beginning of a very long recovery journey for me. So, yeah, God is absolutely amazing. I'm on no medications right now. I never had the transplant. I never had a surgery. I work out way too much. I actually, right out of the hospital, Lady D, I'm not sure if you've heard of the National Academy of Sports Medicine, but I told the doctor, I said, listen, the whole not working out thing, it's not going to go too well. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get certified as a personal trainer. I'm going to get certified as a trainer to help people work out while working out. So I got certified through NASM 6 months out of the hospital. I studied for the exam and got certified as a trainer. Never used it, but I love proving people wrong, and especially when it comes to God. And you know, I'm very thankful for all the battles I just told you about, because they're testimonies, and I know a lot of people have faced them right now. But you look in the big overall scope, I like to say the 30,000 foot view right now. You look, and all those things I went through, they took a toll and just wore me out. The enemy thought he had me, right? And this happens to all of us. And, you know, if I could go back, I wish I knew how to pray better. I wish I knew how to engage in those battles at a different view. And I do now.
Yep.
I do now. I'm not perfect. But if I'm talking to anyone out there, you control how you react to everything. There's nothing more important than your health and your awareness of how you're reacting in those situations that are happening right now. You know, like we get wrapped up in the moment, we get strung out, and we realize usually it's not that big of a deal, right?
Yep.
But when we start to realize that there's a purpose behind every decision, like why is God, now it's okay, well, that didn't work out very well, or I like those people a lot, but I guess God doesn't want them in my life. You start seeing that different perspective, right? And
Yep.
I think that's huge for where we are in this world right now, understanding God's plan.
Absolutely.
So take it away.
Well, first of all, we aren't a religious channel here. We talk about God, and we talk about Jesus. We talk about Yeshua. The main thing about is soul therapy. So I want to talk about how you basically healed yourself working with the power of God, creator, whatever you want to call it. I call God. And let's talk about your vibration and how we are more powerful than we know, Jordan, how the things that we say, the things that we do, our speech, our vibration, what we watch, how does that affect our health and everything? Take it away, Jordan.
Put me on the spot here. Hold on. Well, I mean, yeah. So we have been dumbed down for a reason. I'm sure you've watched my stuff. This world has the enemy has it. I can't ever say this right. Infiltrated. I get
You
made fun
said
of.
it right. You did it.
I know. Infiltrated every aspect of our life.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
like I always say, the Rome Empire never fell; it just turned into the Vatican.
Exactly. Roman Catholic Church. Hello.
Yeah, and then people need to understand that.
Exactly.
I mean, that when people understand that Israel is not Israel, the Bible, and the amount of war and everything over the last 100 years has been created by the Zionist Jews and Khazarian mafia. It's not a fun pill to swallow, but hey, might as well address it now. That's the biggest thing that people are waking up to. But the enemy has really done everything to control us and have us at a very low vibration and frequency. And people don't realize that we're beings of light, and we do run on frequencies, right? You always hear people vibes, like vibe check, vibrations, vibes, right? So, you got to remember that you're going to be aligned with people on your vibe, your frequency. It's just like an AM, FM radio. You got to be, if you want more in your life, better, you got to vibe high, right? Being positive, staying grounded, and shining through even when it's hard to even light the candle. So, when you look at things like that, as in that tweaking of the radio dial, remember, you want the best people in your life, right? You want good things to happen to you, but if you're not putting that out, don't expect it, because you're only going to tune in to whatever station you're on, right?
Right.
So, the importance of it is one thing, but how do you get there? Well, you have to understand how the enemy's worked to dumb us down. I always go back to in school, were you told you use 10% of your brain?
Yep.
Okay. Everyone's like, oh, wow, that's amazing science. But then I'm over here like, well, what about the other 90? What about the other 90%? Why have we not used that?
Exactly. Yep.
So what would the other 90% be? Would it be possibly something like the pineal gland and your third eye chakra? So I bring this up because I don't think a lot of people understand how much that has been calcified, as in preventing you from being able to truly use it. Why?
Yep.
Because that is your alignment with God. Okay, that is the power that Jesus had. I mean, and the problem is the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican, they all know that. So what do? They put fluoride in everything, our water, our toothpaste. We're all just over here soaking it down. And then we got chemicals in our food. Chemicals in the air, your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, everything is designed to bring you down. Low vibration. Okay. So I always refer to RFK. Do you remember when I'm still trying to make a video on this, but I want to make it phenomenal. RFK recently said, I'm going to decalcify your pineal gland, whether you like it or not. Well, I don't think people really understand what that means. One, we've been prevented from actually using it. So we have a Christos, right? The Christos serum that goes up. And I'm going to say Christ consciousness. It's not a negative thing. It's Jesus said, you're going to do better works than me. And we've been told God is within us. So when people understand, it's that there's a serum that runs up your spine. And I don't want to throw this way off because I'm having a brain fart right now, but the Christos serum that activates the pineal gland to truly be able to just to think with your subconscious. And that's your whole, I don't know the words I'm looking for. That's the imagination. That's the creative side of you. The side that's not a part of the matrix where I go slave and have anxiety and I stress over bills and money that has no value. Man, it's just like, how many people know this? But we get so wrapped up in life, and this matrix just absolutely destroys any hope of you thinking you can get out of it, right?
Yep.
But I think, Lady D, more than ever right now, you're seeing God has, again, I'll make something very clear to your followers. Trump is my president. Jesus Christ is my savior. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, yeah. That's right. None of us worship Trump. Trump is a man. Trump is just the figurehead. Trump is just the person that is the figurehead behind the movement that's going on behind the secret military movement that's going on.
Right. So we are under operation. If you all don't know about the Q operation, it's been going on for, I want to say 50, 60 years. So most people here were probably born into the operation. In fact, it's been going on longer than that. It's probably almost 80 years.
Yeah. Way before even Kennedy, was like before FDR, right? Even Jordan?
Right. Yeah. That's it. I'm trying to think 2030 almost.
Yeah.
So we're born into an operation. And, just to give context, our world, Trump always talks about 1913. We got to go back and understand how the state of Israel of the Bible is not Israel that you think of right now with Bibi Netanyahu, who's a complete horrible person. Trump is using him right now. He's Trump's little, because we need him to take out Hamas and all that, and obviously we'll pull the strings on him after that. But these people think of a cartel group who put on suits. And they said, okay, well, America, they have guns and they like their Second Amendment and they have a constitution. So this is going to be hard to come in from the outside. Why don't we just install ourselves and then we'll put on suits? You'll never know. So go back 100 plus years. These people created Washington, D.C., District of Columbia.
Yep.
And then they put themselves into Congress and never had any kind of elections. We just all sat back and said, oh, okay. So here's my gold, change my currency. I guess make all these statues and stuff under your corporation. So they pretty much peed on our Constitution, made you know about this, right? They made their own. So we are the United States for America. Yeah. Theirs is the United States of America. So we have been living under two constitutions, two rules of laws, ever since these people created this stuff, going back past the 1871, roughly, I believe. And people here's the deal. Trump is giving everyone a civics lesson right now. Because, yes, we want to see arrests. We want to see justice for these people trafficking and doing demonic stuff to children. Yep. But what does that do right now? That does absolutely nothing for me. I don't know about you. But I know it's happened. I know most of the evil has been taken off this earth a long time ago in the last 8 years. But most importantly, we probably need to figure out how we got here, right? Because arrest happened and everyone goes back to work in the matrix and none of it makes sense. You fill me in right now and expose how the enemy has destroyed God's children. Show how this happened so it never happens again. And watch people come together. So right now, we're connecting because we all want the answers. Like, why am I paying taxes when Jesus, usury was not allowed? And it's not even something you have to do. Like when people know their rights and they know common law and they know how this country was founded, you start to look at things and be like, oh, okay. So we have a corporation that changed every aspect of government and created all this stuff, and we just never noticed it. Like the Federal Reserve is owned by the two Jewish families, Rothschilds, Rockefellers. I mean, there's nothing federal about it. It's literally like you going with someone and starting a bank. Yeah, this is biblical. Like this is biblical stuff because it reminds me of what Jesus didn't allow. When you read the Bible, how against all this stuff he was. And you start to look, why did he really get put on the cross? Why did obviously the Roman Empire and the Jewish people hate him so much? Like, Anyway, it's crazy, all the revelation I'm having.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
started to think about it.
yeah, well, they try to kill Jesus the way they try to kill Trump, and they killed Kennedy, or Kennedy's clone, or if you believe that, because a lot of people believe that JFK wasn't really killed, that they killed his clone and he was hit in hiding, which I tend to believe. So the same group of nefarious dark principalities that have been possessing these demons, these Zionists, are the same people that are trying to kill Trump. It's the same crew, right, Jordan?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, it's wild is they will tell you this, like, not, if you look hard enough, I've showed so many videos, you know this, so many videos of them just coming out, and these Jews, and again, I'm not saying like Jews are bad people.
No,
We have a
no,
lot
no,
of bad
not at
white
all.
people. We got a lot of bad everything. But
Right.
these Jews, we call them fake Jews, and they admit it, but they have started everything. Let's go to Hitler. Y'all, we've been talking about Hitler for over 2 months now. I got a lot of heat for that video I made. Just showing, like 2 months ago, that Hitler video I made.
Really? People don't want the truth, Jordan. They just don't want the truth. But anyways, go ahead.
I'm not shunning the whole, there was a lot of deaths in the Holocaust. It wasn't what you think. But also, too, why was Hitler burning books? Why was he so against this currency system they were trying to force upon Germany? And they never gave us all of his information, what he was saying in English. So he burned the books because the books were CRT and transgenderism being pushed upon the kids.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds familiar. I'd probably burn them too. Wait, that just happened in our schools and stuff, right? So then all of a sudden, we have these unclassified documents come out from the CIA, and it looks like Hitler went to Germany, or excuse me, to where'd he go?
Argentina.
Argentina.
Yeah, he took off to Argentina and he lived.
Yeah, he started a family. So, with how much of our history, this is why I start talking about how, I got out of the hospital, and there's a store called Mardell, and I had never read the Bible. Like I said, I got scriptures, the tattoos, I've been a believer, but something was like, I drive by there and like, you're going to church. God's telling me I probably need to read his word. So I went and got my first Bible, and I had it for like 3 years and never read it. I mean, I've read, scriptures here and there, but never truly read a book in the Bible. And about 6 months ago, I have a really, really good friend here, Carol, who was my business partner as well. She was the one that just had heart failure recently in the hospital, and I don't know if you follow me, but she just got out, and literally 50, I think she's like 51, 52. My business partner, my greatest friend here in Cape Coral, her heart fails. She calls me. She's like, "Hey, I'm in the hospital. My heart gave out." I'm like,
"What the hell's going on with you and your feet?"
I know. I'm like, this is wild. So anyway, actually, I talked to her for a little bit today. She's doing great, and she's out walking, and no medications. Literally the exact same thing I had.
That is insane, Jordan.
Yeah, wow. I know. I'm just thinking about it right now. But she's out walking 5 miles today, and anyway, that's a whole nother rabbit hole story. But so I told Carol, I said, "Listen, I have an urge." About 3 months ago, something's telling me to read the Bible. I said, I'm going to come up because I'm terrible with reading, and I get obviously a lot going on. I said, I'm going to come over for an hour a day. I'm going to read the Bible to you out loud because that's the only way I can do it. And she's like, okay. She's a big, church Bible person. So I go over, and we got through the whole New Testament in probably a month. And then we started digging into the Old Testament. And that was a little bit harder for me, to really grasp. The first book I read was Revelation. That's just the way I am. I go straight to the end and figure things out. But so, time was going by, and I was reading so much. I was like, man, I'm going to start looking into other stuff. And that's when I got into Enoch. And I started reading about the book of Jubilees and Joshua and all the missing books that the Ethiopian Bible has. Yep, I think you got it. Perfect.
This is it, my G's. This is the unedited version that the Catholic Church didn't canonize or get
Yeah.
their paws on.
And when
Mostly,
I
right?
say that, yeah, you agree with me too. Listen, like we're not saying that the Bible is not God's word, but the fact we have all these different versions and all these, I mean, just so much manipulated stuff.
Right. I
You
mean, the
have to,
Council of Nicaea back in the
yes,
16th century, Roman Constantine, the Pope Constantine, he sat there with the council of all the leaders at the time. It was all about politics and how what their agendas, and they picked and choose what would be in the Bible. Who the hell were they?
yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Constantine, yeah, all of them. Well, the biggest
Right.
one I tell people is this: is who in the world thought they should put King James on God's book? First of all, who knows King James? Who knows the real King James? I mean, it should just say King Jesus, but
Right.
well,
Well, we
yeah,
know that King James was some incestual asshole, pardon my French, okay,
he
because
was
they're all incest.
he was gay. He was a murderer.
Yep.
He's a pedophile. I mean, he was everything the Bible says not to be. And I am not against gay people out there. I have a lot of gay friends. Just don't hit on me. I have nothing against gay people, but I know that that's probably not something God and obviously would appreciate. So I was always confused on why we have King James, the most
Mm-hmm.
popular. I think it's the most popular, most bought version.
Mm-hmm.
So you start to question things, and when you read Enoch, I don't know where you want to go with this, but this whole thing,
Oh,
I read Enoch, and I think if people really
mm-hmm.
read Enoch and understood Enoch, there's a reason they took it out. You would understand calendars, time. You would understand astrology, how
Yep.
the sun and the moon, circles.
Extraterrestrial life.
Yep. And it's not something that's demonic. It's not something that's way out in left field. It's actually Enoch's mentioned 4 or 5 times in the Bible.
Yep. Well, here's actually where I want to go. And my G, Ron, who I'm so psyched he's on this live. He's phenomenal. You should do if people aren't watching Project Roku, you really should. Anyways, you're talking about hell. He says, see, when they changed the Bible over and over, did the people who went to hell for things that are now changed or taken out, or did they go to hell? I'm so glad you brought this up. My G, Project Rogue Q1. He's actually from the Sean Atwood channel, so this is phenomenal that he's watching. I'm a big fan, so the fact that he's watching me now is total a trip. Trip, Ron.
Hold on one
Trip, my
second.
Scottish friend.
Put my charger in. Hold on.
He's all the way from Scotland watching us live now.
What?
Wait, yes, yes. So, anyways, he's our G from Scotland. My favorite Scottish guy. He makes me laugh out loud. You have to subscribe to Project Roku. Anyways, Ron,
Awesome.
the reason why we are talking about this is that the book of Enoch clearly states that hell was not intended for us, it was intended for the fallen angels. That's how I interpret it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan.
No, yeah, I remember earlier our discussion. Yeah, I take it that way as well. I have some other stances on hell and heaven, but again, go ahead.
No, I will see. I didn't read all of Book of Enoch, but from what I mean, let's face it, it's hard to get through. It's kind of the beginning of it is kind of like the beginning of with the first Bible. Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart.
What?
The Old Testament, okay?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
one begot that one begot that one. That one, I'm like, oh my God, I love you, God, but
You know
I'd
they
rather
do that
watch
on
you die.
purpose. Like ever since the translation from Hebrew and all that, like I mean, there's a reason. Like we don't understand it. Trust
Oh,
me, God's word, our God is not a God of confusion.
it's so confusing, that Bible, and it's boring. Some of it's boring. And then we have the God of the Old Testament, who's this horrible, vengeful, mean, vengeful, disgusting God. And then you have nice God from the New Testament. It's so messed up. So, yeah. But getting back on.
No, I've always, it's funny you said that, because I don't know if you listen to me, but like I've always questioned that. Why? And there's a lot of people that will answer this question. A lot of people know, they know everything. Why don't we know what happened to, the most important person in our life, Jesus? Why don't we know what happened really? I don't care what anybody says. We don't truly know what happened from 12 to 30 years old.
There's nothing. There's nothing. And there's many, I believe he went and he studied with all the mystics. I mean, there's all these kinds of stories that he went to India and he went all over the place. So you take it the way you want to go, Midgie. Talk about whatever you want about that, Jordan.
I know, I've heard that too. I've heard he went around and, with the Egyptians and was kind of learning different governments, quote, quote, at the time, and learning different things, money, different trades, whatever. And I think he was doing that to kind of be like the Anon, kind of be like the person to collect data and then be like, okay, this is not good. I'm going to go against the grain with everything they're doing and teach my people. Either you follow me, and obviously, yeah. So that's the way I look at it. And then obviously we know what they did to him with the cross, and God sacrificed his son in the flesh, and it makes a lot of sense when you look back on, I just can't imagine what going through that, back then, thousands of years ago.
Yep. Craziness. Well, it's the same group of evil principalities that are possessing the people now. So we get back to the book of Enoch, Jordan. So so a lot of people that don't know, tell us why you think the book of Enoch is mandatory reading for the secret space program.
I don't know. So that wasn't me. What secret space program?
Was it you were on? Was it secret? You were on some show.
Oh, you're talking. You brought this up earlier. You're talking about the Ingersoll Lockwood website.
Yeah, what was it? The book of Enoch was mandatory reading for some big website because it basically explains what's happening now, right? Okay. So if you bring it up, I'll share the screen.
Everyone knows about the Space Force, right?
Yes. Everyone knows about the secret Space Force. Yes. There's a Space Force.
It's the sixth branch of our government, or fifth branch of our military. Okay, so
the Space Force. Okay.
It's our fifth branch of the military, so I hope we all know about it. The Space Force has everything. So pulling it up here. They have everything. So Trump created the Space Force in 2018, and Space Force it's literally our branch of the military. So Space Force was created, firm opinion, a lot of to back this up, as it's not truly an agency of space. Like we all kind of know space is not space and the earth is flat, whatever curvature. But I got that revelation from this past weekend. I got a lot of deep conversation when I was in Lubbock, Texas with Green Berets, and
I'm sure.
So anyway, when you understand how bad NASA is and how they deceived the world for so long and they're corrupt, I can't wait till they're audited. You start to realize that maybe the Space Force was created to expose NASA along with SpaceX, connect Elon. But also Space Force was created to store all the data for how these people have trafficked humans, dominion, all the cheating, every single thing they did in these elections is stored in the data we have, that Trump said we have it all. So you realize the Space Force was created and we're about to see all that information come out. They tracked everything these people did, from the people that were dropping off ballots, burning ballots, tracking their phones, to the illegal immigrants, the illegal cartels. We have it all. They're screwed. Right? Trust me.
I love
the new voting system is already ready to go. I'll put it that way. That was one thing I was told with confirmation last weekend. That Dominion and all that. Dominion's about to be exposed, and the new voting system, which is going to be paper ballots, is already ready to be. We have primaries and we have stuff coming up. Trust me, everything is done. As in, we're going into a new financial system, whether you like it or not. We can't live under the slave system anymore. Either
Yep.
God has called you to understand that and you're going to be a part of the shift and you know when it's coming very soon, or you're going to be hit with a water hose that's like a fire hydrant going down your throat and I can't handle all this. So we're all in it together. Don't panic. It's going to be great, but we can't be slaves anymore.
Right.
So yeah, going back to this Ingersoll Lockwood, have you heard of that?
I remember watching it on one of your shows. I think it was on Truth Stream with Joe and Scott, the one.
Okay, so I'm going to show you
about it.
here. Yes.
Okay. Bring it up and I'll share the screen and you can bring it up. Okay.
It says I'm sharing. I don't know. Okay. We good?
Oops, wait a minute. That was a little, I don't know what the heck happened there.
That was it.
That was a little.
That was it.
Let me see. Why is it? Okay.
Okay, so check it out.
This is it. This is it. I'm sorry. I totally was talking about the wrong thing, Jordan.
No, you're good. So this is Ingersoll Lockwood. Remember, for those of you that don't know, Ingersoll Lockwood had the, I can't see you right now, but it had the books.
Hold on, let me make it bigger. Is that better for you?
No, I have my screen up, so I can't see you.
Okay.
But I want to show you something that's very key here. This is going to blow some minds in a second. But Space Force is hiring. Obviously, I looked at their information. 1717 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yep.
Oh, wow, this is new. Hold on. Didn't know that was a link. I'm going to blow some minds here in a second. Remind me to click that. That's new. So this whole website is literally loaded with hidden stuff. Hold on. This is crazy. But I started veering off here to the library and doing research one night. I was like, I wonder what's in their library. Because I knew about the books like The Last President. Ingersoll Lockwood wrote that one. The Baron Trump, Marvelous Underground Journeys. This is a really interesting thing as well. Laconics of Occult. Wow. I started reading this. It's all in PDF form. This is
amazing. This is amazing. People, you need to go to this website.
Hold on. What's this? So out of every ongoing research reading recommendation, the only biblical book they recommend is Enoch. Wow. And they're right there for you. 17 removed books in the Bible. Enoch. You still there?
Exactly. Yep, I'm still there. Exactly.
All right. So you can use
not sus at all.
What's that?
Not sus. I know. We're just saying it's not.
Did you see this? Holy smokes! Yep. Hold on. Whoa. I had never seen this. Holy smokes!
That's a new one. Wake Up Neo. Is that new?
Hold on. Okay. Remember I told you this website is not what you think. So remind me to go back to that because that's new for me. But look at this. See, I'm highlighting stuff. I'm highlighting the page. Okay. You see that link? Barely saw it, huh?
Yep.
That's a link. That's a link. Without highlighting it, you don't know that. So Guardians explaining how Space Force controls ATMs, realizing no one would have access to their money without Space Force satellites. Then you click on this side and guess what it does? Recommendations to credit unions. Y'all catching on yet? Okay, we're going through a shift. So let's go down a little bit. Let's highlight some more. Go for launch. Has a guy Enoch on the patch. Another link.
Unbelievable.
Hold on, check this out. So you click on this 1717 QQ51, but you ready for this? So this is highlighted and it's explaining how we should have the proposal for this. It looks like some kind of structured craft. But what's even more wild is you come back. Okay, this is new for me. This is wild right here. I have never got this. What is this? This is the White House page.
That's new. Is that the one I was supposed to remind you of that you reminded yourself of?
Nope.
I'm supposed to remind you of something else?
There's another one. Look. Okay, I don't know. This is wild though. So if you get, I believe it's on one of these pages. I know this is one. So this is nuts. Oh, that's new. So have you heard of like thorium?
No, never
Okay,
heard
so
of that.
we're supposed to have free energy.
Yep.
All
Yes.
right. Well, did you see these two little links I just highlighted?
Yep.
Okay, those are hidden, but this one is.
Okay.
This says why China is building a thorium molten salt reactor. This is new. Holy cow.
Holy moly, Jordan, you are like a wealth of info. Unbelievable.
This is okay. So there's free energy out there. That's what we're trying to like. Trump's trying to tell everybody. Tesla, that's not something here, right here. Potential thorium for safer, cleaner, cheaper energy. Then you look, it gives you like thorium recommendations. Like, what is this? They're already selling them.
This is wild. This is wild, Jordan.
So what I'm trying to tell everyone is like, we're going to get back to these days where we have free energy. Tesla, world fairs. I don't know. Do you know what the world fairs were?
Yeah, the world fairs were basically where they would show everyone all the new technology. Why? Is there something more to it that we need to
No,
know, Jordan?
I was trying to find it. Like there was,
Hmm. The World's Fairs were epic. I mean, they had free energy. I mean, if you think about all and the technology that they had, I mean, they had better technology than we give them credit for with all the building and stuff like that as well.
yeah, I don't know why it's not loading here, but if you click one of these, it shows they're actually planning a world fair for 2025 and 2026.
What?
Yeah. Remember,
Where?
Trump said the best is yet to come. It's not loading for some reason. Oh, here you go.
Well, we all need to know that Trump's uncle, John Trump, who worked for the
Mhm.
government, he went in and he took most of the Tesla's materials before the US government, the disgusting US government came in and took a lot of the stuff. And with
Exactly.
the time travel.
Remember, we have it all, Trump
Yep.
says.
Yep.
So trust me, free energy is coming back. This right here, check this out. I found it. So World's Fair.
Wow.
Right here, possible proposal kickoff date. $2025 next month. Oh, wow. My friend, remember the videos I just made about how in 2 weeks the gold card will go into effect?
Mm-hmm.
Easter timeline for the Q operation to be done with. Trump wants the Easter timeline. And now we have May 26th of 2025, possible alternative dates for a World Fair.
Wow. Folks,
Holy.
if you're not following Jordan on Instagram at Real Jordan Clark, you're missing out. I'm telling you, his lives on 3 p.m. every day Eastern are epic. You get stuff like this. Sorry, just wanted to make sure people are watching you live because
The link attached right there under my name has all this, guys. So you can follow my Instagram. I have a lot of fake accounts. Just make sure you're following the right ones. And also, if you want to join the Crypto Collective, we have an amazing family of crypto school. This is actually a school. So you go in here and there's actually courses to show you guys how to get started with crypto and to understand the new QFS system. We set all this up. Me and my partner did. Colin, if you're watching this, we are praying for your mother, his grandma. His grandma was just diagnosed with heart failure this afternoon. So, yeah, another one.
guys,
but we also just created a new model. What's that?
I said it's really good. I'm glad people, because there's a lot of people that have questions about crypto and they're not sure. So I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Yeah, and that's why I did it, because I can't answer everyone. And my partner Colin is a 24-year-old wizard with this stuff. So I was like, dude, let's make something where people can go learn. So right here, setting up your first investment. There's actually videos, and we set all this up and launched it, and it's freaking amazing how God has worked, because it's not about like it's much more than just a classroom. And I mean, look at this. I mean, we have all this community of people coming together and talking every day. So we're all truly in this together. But the new system's coming, whether you like it or not. So I highly recommend everybody. Be open-minded, because your fiat dollar in the SWIFT system has no value, and it's just created strictly to keep you enslaved. And God doesn't want that. And that's why it's gonna be so hard to grasp what's coming with this year. Look at 2 months and what's happened since the inauguration. I can't even fathom another 2 months, let alone 4 years. Yes, God has truly used Donald Trump, just like he does other people in the Bible, David and Goliath, you name it.
Yep.
The spot. And I hope this gives you a lot of hope, because right now the news and all the fake media and everyone out there is protesting today for absolutely no reason. They don't even know why. They will give you every reason to feel like this is a demonic system, mark of the beast, antichrist, this and that. Man, I talk about this a lot. If what's coming is the antichrist demonic system, I always ask one question, Lady D. I always ask everyone that's pushing, hey, it's the end times. I ask them, what was the last 100 years then? What's that system called? The one that enslaved all of us. That is
exactly.
Hold on. If you look at Revelation, wait, it says one of the beasts will be of the sea. What have we lived under? Maritime law? Isn't that the law of the sea? Oh, okay. And then last I knew, we had a birth certificate and a social security number that I never agreed to, but I was born and given, stamped and marked. And without that, Lady D, you know what? You don't get to participate. You can't buy or sell. Oh, I'm just throwing little breadcrumbs out there. Y'all can start connecting dots. But I go back to bigger devastation, like World War II, Holocaust, where people were actually dying. Do you know what they were probably saying too? Jesus is coming back.
Yep.
Last I knew, again, that's another discussion. People that think that Jesus is just going to come down from the sky and these huge trumpets are going to go off, we got to have a conversation.
I know. Those are what they call that,
it's very serious.
The whatchamacallit, I forget the term.
Anyway, Jesus is within you.
Mm-hmm.
That high frequency, that's Jesus coming back. There's other ways to explain it, but the people out here pushing this, like, listen, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm trying to think of what we talked about with Amy last night, Amy Seaver. She's amazing. There's no way Jesus can come down and have a line from here to Iraq of people, right? Like, okay, next in line. And I know this is a very, very big thing, because churches and people teach it like this, like he's coming down from the sky. And
the rapture.
Yeah. But like, what's the words I'm looking for? Like, the Bible has so many
allegories.
Yeah, or different interpretations, like.
Yeah, it's basically, they don't mean it literally. It's basically a story. It could be different interpretations. Is that what you mean? Like different types
if you
of
think
allegory.
about that, think about how that can be manipulated in so many ways over the years and taught. Oh, man.
Right.
That's why it's so important for us to discern and read for ourselves, to get that spirit, the intuition, and listen. Right? That's the world doesn't want you to listen to that.
Right. I mean, look at, there's so many, all of these, there's so many in the Ethiopian Bibles, there's 208 books that are taken out of the Bible. There's so much about our hidden history, and it's all about Enoch and wheels upon wheels and spaceships and, what if, and I'm just posing, what if the ark is really a space ark? What if, would that mean that any of these people are any less divine? What if Yeshua,
So I'm starting to connect dots with the ark. Like, look at that. So Trump had the ark in Mar-a-Lago, the replica, which is very, very identical, 2 years ago, when James O'Keefe took a picture with it. And then all of a sudden we have the information that came out. Hold on. So I'm lining these dots up. The Ark of the Covenant in '88 was found. The CIA had it, right? Then the pyramids, so they say, but the pyramids recently now come out, and we have coils underneath the pyramids that are larger than the tallest building in the world. One coil is larger than the tallest building in the world.
Hard to fathom.
And then you connect those dots. People want to say think about that. The mud flood. Go back to Enoch and what happened, the Nephilim. The earth was flooded because of the Nephilim became cannibals and were destroying all of creation. So he flooded the earth. Right? He told Noah, hey, Enoch came down, told Noah, warned, Noah, and this is where it fits in right in Genesis 6 with Enoch 1. But the flood, some of the Nephilim survived, and the waters below, as we saw in Congress, them talking about aliens deep below, that's a whole other thing. Reptilians, shape-shifting. If you heard my thing with Amy last night, she has seen a shapeshifter and a reptilian, and man, that veil is getting very thin. So who knows, when that comes out, but how much of history is hidden in the mud flood?
All of it.
Right. Like people you need to research the mud flood in Tartaria. You guys need to look into that with what's coming out. Like we see a big pyramid. That's just the little piece that was left from the flood. All of it's below. So all of a sudden I'm connecting dots now to power coils, the Ark, the Covenant. Like, have you seen the thing about the video that breaks down the tabernacle and how it wasn't a rectangle, it was pi, it was a circle?
No, I didn't.
Oh man, so they showed me this video in Lubbock this weekend. I'll have to find it. This guy absolutely breaks down how the tabernacle was supposed to be built and there's no way it could have been a rectangle. It came out to be pi, the dimensions.
Wow. Unbelievable.
I don't want to confuse people, but that's another one that's absolutely wild. Why does yours say 208?
I don't know. That's interesting.
Do people know right now in Ethiopia it's 2018, 2017?
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah, so if you go, because they have a 13-month calendar. So there was a guy who went over there recently and grabbed the dude's phone on YouTube. He was like, hey, man, let me see your phone. And he grabs the Ethiopian guy's phone. He's like, oh, why? It says 2018.
Because there was a story and it was going on all over Instagram that they took 10 days out of our calendar back in 1617. Did you hear that story too? Do you think that has something to do with it as well?
I'm sure. I mean, I saw that girl, she added it up perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they've been messing with us. So do you think that like the people of Ethiopia, they have basically the real, I think that they have like the real everything. They have the real time, the real calendar, the real Bible, the real everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just one country. They didn't mess with anything, as far as I know. I mean, and if you think what they're teaching, their children and stuff, like it's all. And the thing is, this is when you open it up and you look at the way it's laid out, like the whole canonized Bible is in here, like New Testament, Old Testament. It says it word for word, but in between there you have the missing books. It's not like, oh, here's the missing books and then here's the other. It just fits them in. It's like, okay, man, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Then you look at the 13-month calendar. You look at what God had demanded with the Jubilee. This is huge information people need to understand. 2025 is the year of a Jubilee. That happens every 50 years. A Jubilee, to keep it simple, is debt forgiveness. All slaves are to return. The land is not to be worked. So much other stuff. God demands this. Well, what's happening? Debt forgiveness, Nasara, Jasara. Okay. It's happening. And they would absolutely not want you to know this. because it would not be good for the government. And that's what's happening. That's the reason. Look at the tariffs. Look at the wealth coming back. I mean, how are people not lining this up? It's all God.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of people still watch lamestream media and think it's the truth, They've been
Yeah.
anesthetized and lied to, and I don't understand it. I don't see it. I mean,
Not me either.
so
Me either.
Jordan, with our ascension, okay, with this ascension, how do you feel? Do you feel like this is like a 10-year window, and like certain people, like the people that are in the know, the people that are awake and part of God's army now will kind of go first, and then do you think like slowly people will wake up over the next few years? Um, because I'm under the
I'm listening.
impression, and I believe that God wants to take as many people, you know what I mean, as possible. And when
Right?
I mean ascension, I'm not talking about, I don't personally believe about the what we're talking about. Again, I'm having a brain fart. The rapture. I'm not talking about a rapture. And ascension is that our 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 earth is going to the fifth dimension. Our earth is vibrating, is raising to the fifth dimension. We're going to be in the fifth dimension. That's the ascension. That's what I'm talking about.
Hold on 2 seconds. I'm trying to get my power cord to work.
No
Computer's dying.
problem. Yes, it is an
So,
individual process manifesting, Marion. I believe so. We have a personal ascension, and then I feel like once we personally ascend and get to know God, then there's we'll activate a mass ascension, so to speak.
right. And that goes back to, the Christ consciousness thing. It's all of us.
Right.
And it's all of us uniting in unity and love. That's it. And the reason we are vibing so low is because of taxation, debt, money. Think about it. Usury. I mean, honestly, I think if you break down my decodes, I think you're going to see huge changes in the next 6 months. I think by the end of April, you're going to be mind blown. My discernment.
I agree.
My discernment, and because I followed this operation for the last 7 years, every night I watch reports. Things are happening. And as soon as we wake up and understand that God lives within us and we have powers that are unimaginable, let's start with the Vatican, the pine cone, the pineal gland. The pine cone represents the Egyptians used to face. I was going to try to find that picture and show you. I haven't made this yet, but the pine cone represents power and I don't know the word I'm looking for, but what does the Vatican, I'm going to try to find a picture here, have outside of it? It has the largest pine cone statue ever. And that's just telling you that they control the world. Like they control.
Yep.
So what is happening? Well, we know Trump and this operation has been destroying the Vatican, right?
Yep.
They have been destroying. The Pope is dead. And you start to realize these things are connecting. The Rothschilds are taken out. The people that have completely enslaved us. I was trying to find a picture here I had of all the Vatican stuff because I had a little video I was ready to make about it. But, we're going to start seeing so much healing in the next 6 months. It's unfathomable. So I think the biggest pill, remember, Israel for last. The Q board, Israel for last. And why is that? Because that's going to be the hardest one to swallow. And we need to be probably, as far along in this operation with okay, this is happening. Okay, I got to be able to realize the Epstein list. I got to be able to swallow all this. Look what Trump's exposing. Look at Doge. Doge is exposing. I mean, look, Elon's already going to be done. Like he just said, he's going to be gone in May. This is all a movie. It's a script to show the people. Everything you've seen happen does not happen that fast. Audits don't happen in months, weeks.
I know, it really don't.
Like literally, we can predict what's coming the next week. Like, we're not even April 15th yet. Now, yesterday, 25% of the IRS employees are going to be done. Well,
Right.
Last month, it was 120 offices were shut down during tax season. Hello, my friends. They're trying to tell you, like, stop playing the game. Stop. I mean, they're not going to come tell you, hey, you don't pay your taxes. They're trying to tell you, stop playing the game, which most people
Yeah.
have caught on to. But
Right. What are they going to do if you don't pay your taxes now? That they've been staying, like, I mean, seriously, is anyone
yeah,
going to pay their taxes this year?
well, I'll tell you this. Back in 2022, I know like 30 million people was reported on the fake news couldn't afford to pay their taxes because of the pandemic. It was like either taxes or food. 30 million people. That was 3 years ago. So I'll leave it up to y'all. Know your rights, know the Constitution, and you wouldn't have an issue making that decision. Now, if you live in fear and you listen to the fake news and you're afraid of what they programmed you to believe, that they'll come get you and snag you, well, and that's the fear. But when you live with God and you realize you're born with rights and you're born with only what God his commands, not all these statues and fake 3-letter alphabet agencies who were designed to simply protect the cabal, the corporation from the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Jews, the fake Zionist Jews created the Federal Reserve Bank, the world banks, all these banks around the world. And then they created these agencies because they knew the people would catch on. And instead of them being like forefront, they said, well, we'll have these agencies like the IRS, FBI, they'll protect us. So they're not here to help you. They're here to protect them. Well, Trump is abolishing them and exposing them, the judges, all the corruption. And that's happening so fast. I don't see how this could go another 6 years. I don't see how this could go without people waking up and finding true healing.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think it's going to go more than a few months, to tell you the truth. I feel like the whole dismantling of the whole system in the US and around the world may take a few years, but I agree. I think April's going to be epic. We are watching a movie, and how do you know? If you just go to the cue boards, I mean, everything that they predict everything that they've said has happened. I mean, they even named Cash Patel. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, what I don't understand, Jordan, is that how many of us, and me too, sometimes we know that we're watching a movie and then we still get sucked into the movie, and we have to stop doing that, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the loosh that the cabal wants, right?
Yeah, we have a routine, the matrix. Like it's all you're program. You want to do what's easy. You want to do what seems normal. And the hardest part is you have to realize that you're going to look different. You're not going to fit into everyday conversations. You're not going to fit in. You can't hang on to relationships that are driving you backwards. You can't. You'll never get out. You got to understand that you need the time alone to, one, think, two, let God talk to you without distractions, which I'm talking everything's a distraction. I don't have kids. I don't have a family around. Like I can't imagine like not being able just to simply think. But that's how you get out. And you have to stop participating in things that like everything. I'm talking TV. I'm talking news. I'm talking just getting on and seeing these commercials. They're all designed to keep you programmed. And I say that because I have to wake up every day and get back into the crazy part, the psycho looking part, weirdo.
Yep.
But you have to go out and adapt, right? You got to adapt to the people that are in the matrix. So we're all in it together. Where we go one, we go all.
Yep.
The end goal is to find God. The end goal is to bring people closer to God with hope. And you can't force it. People are going to find God at the right time. Our goal is to hopefully not let it get to something so bad like heart failure or another cancer diagnosis or something. If we can prevent it by making changes in our food, making changes in the church, making changes where truth needs to be shown, then we're doing our job. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know we're about to wrap it up, so I just want to, I think that's a good thing to put out there.
Yes.
Positive.
Absolutely. So, Jordan, and we're going on 2 hours now, and I want to be respectful of your time. If there's anything that you can leave tonight do you see was the most important thing to get us through April with what you know? What would be your advice to all those that are watching tonight?
I would say be open minded, pray often, and unite. And when I say unite, we're not waking anyone up anymore. All you can do is plant seeds. Don't force it. Let God work. He's going to align you in ways you can't even fathom. If you're alone, understand that loneliness, that depression is the enemy, and God is putting you, usually you're alone so he can mold you. Okay? If you're busy and you're distracted all the time, you can't open new doors. So understand that there's a purpose behind everything that's happening, and just go with it. Put in the effort. Don't force it. Don't lose relationships because you're trying to make someone believe something. All right. And number one, your health. I'm sorry, but we can't save the world if we're dead. Right? You can't leave a generation behind with children if you're gone.
Yep.
Right. So you got to start taking care of yourself. You got to make changes in your diet. You got to make changes in your life. What are you consuming? What chemicals are bringing you down? What addictions do you have that the Matrix gave you from food? Address them, because it's going to be harder down the road when you're forced to address them. Big Pharma ain't going to be around forever. Those medications you're on, God did not create your body saying, oh, geez, I better create Big Pharma too, because I don't know how to heal it. Like, trust me, God created you without the thought of Big Pharma. So medications are probably going to change. And that's scary when you realize how many people are on medications for depression, anxiety. You can do everything, right? With God. Philippians 4:13, we can do it all.
Yep.
Yep, and everywhere you go, Joshua 1:9, God will be with you. The Lord will be with you. But the most important one I got recently, Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron as man sharpens man. We all are tools to sharpen one another. So
I love it.
that's, I think, the best thing to leave with everyone with.
Well, this has been a phenomenal show. I can't thank you enough for joining me. You have a welcome invitation anytime you want to join me, Jordan. It has been an honor and a privilege. And for all those that want to get in touch with Jordan, want to follow him, all of his social links are underneath in the description of this show. And
Yep.
as always, it's been a pleasure. Jordan, I'm going to take you off, and I'm just going to do one last goodbye to my Soul Tribe family. So, Jordan, thank you so much. It's been an honor and a privilege. God bless you.
Seriously, thank you very much, and everyone watching, thank you. We'll definitely do it again, and I'll be praying for everyone out there. Just chin up. Good times are coming.
Thank you, Jordan. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
See you
God
later.
bless you.
God bless.
All right, folks, that was just amazing. Just amazing. It has been an epic night. It has been an epic night to have Jordan Clark here and to have my G Ron Roku in the chat watching me is a trip. Unbelievable. It is so awesome to have him watching, because I'm telling you guys, if you want to laugh, if you want a phenomenal show, laugh out loud. And he is a kick-ass. He let me tell you about Ron. All right, let me tell you about our soul brother Ron. Okay, from the Sean Atwood channel. He doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. He has single-handedly gone and infiltrated and got rid of child sex traffickers. He's taken down child sex traffic rings, websites. All right. He is a kick-ass warrior. So if you want to be part of a phenomenal movement to end child sex trafficking, please go to Ron's website, Join his website. This man, like I said, he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. He is a co-host on the Sean Atwood channel. All right. You guys all know the Sean Atwood channel. It's a huge channel. All right. But Ron is his co-host. And I'll tell you, I like to watch Ron more than I like to watch Sean. All right. He streams live with Sean, but I watch Ron's channel because Ron is hilarious. He's phenomenal. All right. And he is a kick ass. He fights for the kids. All right. So join Project Roku on YouTube. All right. Like I said, and it's just, this has been such an awesome, awesome show. But not only for having Jordan on, but having, well, how do you feel when somebody that you watch and you admire is watching you? It's a trip. Wow, my G. Wow, you. Wow, you. All right. I just want to, I wish I could just have you on so you could say side chat. If anything, you have to watch Sean. I mean, you have to watch Ron, with his beautiful accent. He always says the side chat. Give me a one in the side chat. I always watch you because I call it the chat. He calls it the side chat, the time. All right, man. So I'm going to end this show because it can't get more epic. Jordan Clark on my show. Ron Swanson in the chat watching me. It is fucking epic. Doesn't get better than that. So I'm going to do a mic drop and let everyone know that it is a dream come true. And Ron, I freaking love you, man. Love you. Oh, so folks, all of Jordan Clark's socials, join him, follow him, follow Ron Q in the chat. All right. Sean Atwood channel, co-host, phenomenal. He is awesome. All right. And on that epic note, I'm going to, this is water. It's not vodka, folks, but I think I need a drink after. I'm so excited. I'm totally fangirling here. All right, folks. So on that note, I will see you tomorrow. I'll be on with Jason on the Light Warrior Network at 6 p.m. Eastern. Until then, just know that you are freaking awesome. You kick ass. And hold on. You're strong. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay? We're almost there. All right? Don't let the bastards grind you down. All right? I'll see you soon. See you tomorrow with Jason. All right? And make sure you follow Ron and watch Ron. You will not be disappointed. He literally makes me laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. All right. I love you, my G's. Bye. Peace out. I love you. God bless. Have a good night.